Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is a video dedicated to all of my Sagittariuses out there, Sun, Moon, and Horizon, even your Venus, if you are aware of where your Venus placement is in your natal chart. So this video is going to be all about the month of May and the energy that you can expect to be kind of dealing with in the month of May and how you can deal with that energy to really get what it is that you want out of the month of May. So I do want to say first, before we get into this reading, that first of all, this is a general reading. So take whatever it is that you can from this reading. It's really going to be important for you to make sure that you're intuitively connected to this reading. So as you are receiving this message, you will receive intuitive hits from your spirit guides and from source. And that is how you'll know with those little intuitive hits that this is the part of the message that pertains specifically to you and that you really need to apply specifically to you and your life. In order to help you guys kind of get intuitively connected, I am going to offer a nice little 15-second meditation before we get to your cards here. That the way you guys can kind of calm your mind, quiet the noise, and really get into this nice intuitive space. So we're all just kind of vibing and doing this reading together, essentially, you know? So I'm going to start that 15-second meditation right now. All right, and hopefully that 15-second meditation was enough time for you guys. If not, then of course, feel free to go on ahead and pause the video if you need to. But don't forget, you guys, to check out the rest of my videos because I've done all 12 of the zodiac signs for the month of May. So don't forget to check out your moon, rising, and Venus sign if you haven't already. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And without further ado, let's just jump straight into this reading. So the very first card that I have here for my Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and or Rising, possibly even Venus, is the Four of Swords. Then the Knight of Pentacles, and then the Empress in reverse. For me, this Knight of Pentacles, this Four of Swords, they're very, very vibrant to me in my subconscious right now. But what I'm kind of getting from these two cards is contemplation. The month of May is really going to bring my Sagittariuses a moment in time for rest, a moment in time for contemplation, a moment in time for a real reassessment over your life and just where you're at. It's really going to feel as though things kind of slow down for the month of May. I'm kind of seeing for my Sagittariuses, and where it's kind of like the distractions are really kind of quieted in your life. They kind of go into this space where the distractions, and I don't mean to call like relationships and work and things like that a distraction, but the things that kind of keep you away from yourself, they're not really going to be as pressing for the month of May. I can kind of almost see, in a sense, the universe sort of making May for my Sagittariuses out there kind of almost like a month-long kind of vacation, energetically wise. It's going to feel as though, especially when it comes to energy, like things are just kind of like still. It's almost going to feel very still, and it's going to make you, the energy of May is really going to kind of bring you into this place where you want to really just kind of sit back and think, or where you really won't have any other choice besides to sit back, think, and take a look and an assessment of your life and where you're at. And then another thing that I'm seeing here is with this Empress in reverse is that it's also really going to be a time, like I said, where it's almost like a mini vacation for you, where you really need to dedicate this time and devote this time to yourself. And like I said, May is really going to be a nice opportunity for you, where I feel like the cosmos are just going to kind of open up in this way where it's like, hey, you know, what are you feeling? Do you feel like you need a rest? Do you feel like you need if there's any time to rest for my Sagittariuses, I feel like May would definitely be the month to take advantage of it. And if you're feeling out of tune with yourself, or if you're feeling like, you're not really showing enough attention to yourself, because that's what I'm kind of getting with this Empress in reverse here, is I'm kind of getting like you're not showing enough attention to yourself, not enough care, not enough love. You need more divine feminine energy in your life. You need to really nurture and take care of yourself. And like I said, the month of May is going to be an amazing time for you to really take advantage of that. The Four of Swords as well is a card about meditation. So meditation may be a very big deal for you. with this upcoming month of May. Meditation may be a very big thing for you where maybe you need to meditate more, or you're going to feel like you want to meditate more. I have the feeling that you're going to feel as though you really want to just connect to something else. And it really makes sense because, you know, now that I think about it, astrologically, Jupiter just went into retrograde. Pluto has gone into retrograde, and now Saturn has gone into retrograde. And my Sagittarius says you guys are ruled by Jupiter, one of the major planets that have gone into retrograde. So Jupiter is all about expansion. It's all about luck. It's all about growth. But when Jupiter goes into retrograde, he goes into the space of, I need to rest, and I really need to go more inwards, and I really need to kind of look at what it is that I want and what rings true to me. What is truth to me? What is peace to me? What is love to me? And I really, you know, that actually makes a lot of sense for the month of May, because I almost forgot, you know, astrologically, Jupiter has definitely gone into retrograde, and you guys are ruled by Jupiter. So it makes sense as to why you guys are going to be feeling this sense of, I really just kind of want to rest, because your planet is resting. Your planetary ruler is saying, I'm resting, so you definitely need to rest, you know. And Jupiter, he really talks about going beyond, honestly, you know, he's the one that goes beyond. He's the one that takes it a step further. And that's why Jupiter is looked at in regards to a higher education, because you go beyond high school, you go into a higher education, or it's really all about kind of traveling, where you go beyond, you know, your comfortable kind of boundaries, you know, maybe you leave the country or something. Jupiter is always talking about going beyond, because it's such a big planet. It's all about the above and beyond. So there could be a lot of spiritual reflection. There could be a lot of spiritual reflection taking place for you in the month of May, or the feeling that I really want to take some time to spiritually connect to something in the month of May. So let's go on ahead and take a look at you guys as oracle cards here. But definitely really try to connect as well to this divine feminine, because I do see that even if you're a man, it doesn't matter, because we're all made up of polarities. Men have masculine and feminine energy, and women have masculine and feminine energy as well. We all have yin yang energy, feminine, masculine energy. So it's really going to be all about the divine feminine energy. All it talks about is just receiving. It talks about nurturing. It talks about what the idea of like a mother would be to you. So a mom, you know, the idea of a mom is nurturing, kind, soft, loving, supportive. You know, it's kind of that female energy of being nurtured. And so I really feel as though it's going to be very important for you in the month of May. Another thing as well is you may feel as though you're not getting enough of that in the month of May, to see that in reverse as well. So yeah, this is the other side of the coin. The month of May for my Sagittarius is Sun, Moon, and Rising may be a little bit hectic or busy for you, and you may feel the need to really retreat and say, this is too much and I'm not dealing with it. I'm going into my meditation mode. I'm going into a space where I do not want to be bothered. I'm going into my Jupiter bubble, and don't mess with me. You know, it's kind of like that. And I'm saying that with the Knight of Pentacles as well, is I believe that as though this is going to be something that you can apply to your life for the long term as well. There's going to be something that you contemplate and that you come to clarity with in the month of May that's going to apply to your long term as well. So let's go on ahead and take a look at you guys' oracle cards here. So the very first one that we have is Unicorn. And Unicorn talks about using that third eye, using your intuition, just like what you would get with like meditation. Meditation brings you closer to your intuitive self. This is exactly what the Unicorn talks about. The Unicorn talks about trusting that intuition, trusting that intuitive capability it is that you have. I believe that this Unicorn energy here is really going to be at play for the month of May. And it's really going to try to teach you how to trust your intuition, how to have faith in your intuition, because that's what the unicorn talks about. It talks about, we all have these intuitive capabilities, but we usually talk ourselves out of it by saying, oh, I didn't intuitively connect to anything. I didn't just hear that. I didn't just see that. That's just my eyes or ears playing tricks on me. When in reality, it's like, no, you're just gifted. You're just gifted. You're a unicorn. I believe that the month of May is really going to bring that into play, where you're contemplating how much it is that you have faith in yourself, how much it is that you believe in yourself and believe in your own intuition and your own intuitive capabilities. The very next card that we have here is, oh my gosh, look, you guys, whale. The whale is, what does the whale do in nature? He's the one that dives deep. That's what I was telling you guys. Jupiter is all about expanding, going above and beyond. And that's what the whale does under the sea. I have to read this to you guys. So the whale, it says here, desire to delve deeper, profound peace and ancient wisdom, just like the unicorn. You guys, I was telling you, it's all about that intuitive capability. So these two cards are, wow, okay, they pair together very well. So it says here, the whale represents profound emotional health and stability. Whale personalities are not afraid of emotional expression or traveling difficult terrain, as they have overcome many challenges in their lives. These experiences have enriched them, given them stability, strength, and a depth that is rare. Whale energy is usually linked to the feminine forces of compassion and communication. The feminine forces, you guys. I told you guys to really focus on that for May, and it says here, whale energy is usually linked to the feminine forces of compassion and communication. We can depend on whale personalities when all else seems lost, and trust them to be a beacon in our darkest hour. Trust our intuition to come through in our darkest hour, when we feel lost, when we feel confused, when we feel conflicted or stressed. So it says here, the whale, when in balance, the whale is calm, steady, and deeply compassionate. When out of balance, the whale is heavy or slips into old story. To bring into balance, regular self-care, you guys, just like I was saying with this Empress card right here, as well as even with the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords talks about rest, meditation, contemplation, relaxation. The Empress card talks about nurturing that divine feminine energy that we all need to apply to our lives in some way, shape, or form at one point or another, because we need to nurture ourselves. We have to be able to give it to ourselves. Even if we are getting it somewhere else, we have to be able to still give it to ourselves. So I love that this said that. And then the unicorn, like I said, it's all about trusting that intuition. And I feel like May is really going to focus on that for you guys. The very next two cards that we have here is Ain, leap of faith. Take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. So what is it that you really want? Like I said, it's going to be all about contemplating for the month of May for my Sagittariuses. And I do believe actually that it said with the whale card here, coming into a place where your hardships are kind of your place of wisdom. And I think that for my April reading that I did for Sagittarius, I said the exact same thing for my Sagittarius, the sun, moon, and a rising, that you guys' hardships is what's really going to be your wisdom, and you're going to be able to apply it to other people's lives and give them guidance and support and strength. And so it's so funny to see this card again for the month of May, or not see this card again. I don't think I pulled this card for last month, but that was the message that I got for Sagittarius last month, was it was time for you guys to be helping others through your experiences, from the knowledge and the wisdom it is that you've gained from this life. And let's see, so the very next card that we have, Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. I love that. I love seeing this card, sudden infinite supply. So you're supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. Yeah, I feel as though this card is saying that you have an infinite source of whatever it is that you need. If you need more love, if you need more strength, if you need more support, you have an infinite supply of all these things. All you have to do is reach out and ask. The very next card that we have here is you are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. I love that. So even if you're in the state of contemplation for the month of May, just don't forget that you are good enough. You're probably going to come across a lot of things where it's like, you're contemplating about your life. You're kind of rewinding back time, and maybe even looking at things it is that you've done in the past. And when you're looking and observing these things, it would be very helpful to observe them in almost like this third person point of view, where you're not necessarily attached to yourself as you're observing and contemplating your past, so that the way when you are going through certain decisions or things that have happened in the past, you're not feeling them all over again in this painful way. If these are painful memories and experiences, you don't want to deal with them in a way where it's painful all over again and it's trauma all over again. You just kind of want to observe and take what it is that you can from these memories and these experiences. And the best way to do that is by detaching emotionally from them. The very next card that we have here is Milky Way Perspective. What was I just talking about? Changing that perspective up and seeing things from a different point of view, seeing things from almost like this third person point of view where it's like you're detached from it. It's almost like you're having your own out of body experience to your own memories and experiences, you know? So yeah, really important to keep a certain perspective. So yeah, it's going to be really important to keep a certain perspective, a perspective that's going to be positive for you and a perspective that's going to be beneficial for you and that's going to be conducive for you, you know? So don't beat yourself up about anything, you know? It needs to be constructive criticism, you know? The very next card that we have, Spring Equinox Rebirth. Yes, this is a time for you to be reborn. And how are you reborn? You're reborn in a state of, you want to be reborn in a state of calmness and in a state of peace, in the state of the Four of Swords. So that the way when you come back out from this kind of hibernation, in a sense, kind of like the Four of Swords reminds me of hibernation mode. So that when you do emerge from this hibernation mode, you have emerged completely new and completely rebirthed and completely rejuvenated, you know? The very next card that we have here is Imagine, the card of manifestation. It's also the card of perspective as well, where it's like, you know, whatever it is you say or see in your mind's eye is what will be. So it's very important for the month of May for my Sagittarius is here to make sure that you are very aware of your own power when it comes to your mind and your thoughts. So I believe that most Sagittariuses know that they have a very easy way of manifesting things in their life because they're ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is that planet of luck. And, you know, many Sagittariuses are pretty positive most of the time. And because of that, you guys attract so much into your life. So I think most of you do know how important perception is and perspective is. I believe you guys know how important that is. The very next card we have is Thinker. Look at that, you guys. Contemplation. What was I saying? You guys are in a state of contemplating for the month of May. Then the very next two cards that we have, pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. And love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. Like I was saying, you really need to be in a place where you're nurturing and loving yourself. The same way that, you know, the idea of a mom would be to her young is how you need to be with yourself during this time in the month of May. Be very careful with yourself in the month of May. And then the last card that we have here is prosperity. As this tree grows so strong, so fine, so may I prosper from the universal divine. Yes, you're going to prosper. You are good enough. Infinite supply, leap of faith, rebirth. All these things are saying, you know, it's really time to contemplate. But like I said, there's going to be a long-term sustainability here where whatever kind of decision you come to or whatever sort of thoughts or ideas you kind of conclude and come to at the end of all this in May, it's gonna supply you for the long term. Infinite supply. Whatever it is you're learning in May is going to supply you for the rest of your life. I do believe that this is a very important lesson and time to take away from in May. It's going to be so extremely important for my Sagittarius is here because we have a lot of infinite supply, perspective, you know, long-term vision I'm seeing. So yeah, be very, very, very aware and attuned to how it is that you are looking at yourself in your life while you're contemplating and observing these thoughts, okay, for my Sagittarius. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I pray that you guys have an amazing May. I hope this reading brought you guys some clarity and some strength, and I will be back next time, okay, you guys? Bye.